Welcome to the Season Podcast.
We'll never not show that.
Thank God for that.
Oh, I love that. I love that little shot. Thank you, Dan. That was Dan the man taking a little tumble for charity, because that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everybody to the Snobs podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mick Manhattan, joined as always by the man to my guess my left, but it looks right from here.
Yes.
So
I trust you more than me.
Paul, welcome back, my friend. How are you, sir?
Good, man. I enjoyed our weekend together last week. I enjoyed
We
the con
did.
last weekend with you. But yes.
We didn't even leave the hotel room. We just nibbled on each other's ears, and it was delightful. It was, dare I say, the most stupendous gay experience of my life.
Yeah.
And it was
Notebook's not even a love story. Have you seen the Mick and Paul show?
Oh man, our OnlyFans director's cut out the Snobs podcast.
Yes. It's Feet Finder, but it's the nastiest feet, and you just can't look away. So you got to subscribe because you got to see how bad it looks. It's calluses on my feet. Bad.
And if you think your calluses are bad, like, you got to see my feet. They look like a train wreck. They look like Ohio in 2022. And I feel bad about making that joke already. But I did it for all my Hawaiians out there. There's so much to unpack with that statement. But we did. We spent the weekend at Carolina Fear Fest. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We have a whole show planned. But I thought what we do is we kick it off like we have been with our reviews, the Scene Snobs reviews. We watched a lot of movies this week. It's a very demanding job. And when you watch some of these movies, you understand why. But
That's bad.
It off. And I thought we would kick it off with my lowest rated movie of the week, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lilo and Stitch, let me prepare for this. Let me get us in camera view mode for this one, because this is gonna be a clip, I'm sure. Before I even get into anything about what's being said about this movie, before I share my review, before Paul shares his review, I must say to you, in all honesty, I have seen Lilo and Stitch, the animated version movie, once when my nieces were very small. And it wasn't me sitting there. It was like kind of watching them. So they were watching it more than I was, if that makes sense. You know, at the time I had my sidekick out. I'm sitting there. I'm playing on the internet. They're off. They're watching Lilo and Stitch. But I did see the movie, and it was good. It's a good movie. That Lilo and Stitch. Now, I learned what ohana means and ohana means foster care is the way to go, from what I understand. Oh no, I'm sorry. Ohana means family, not in this in this new version. And that's where we get to it. This is the live action. Let me get the good out of the way. Stitch was cute. He was funny. It's hard for him not to be, considering you have a model for, I think there was the original movie. I think there's been like a couple of sequels to the movie. I think there's a TV show to the movie. So there's a lot of Disney versions of Stitch out there that you can watch, and you can gain like what will make this special. They kept him looking like Stitch. They listened to the Sonic audience, the Sonic the Hedgehog audience, and said, we're not going to mess with this. He's just going to look like Stitch. So I'll give him that. The little girl in it was adorable. Almost like it's hard to fight with the cartoon version. The only reason I'd say like she wasn't as adorable as the cartoon version, because of how this movie ended. And we'll get to that. But the story is really about an older sister taking care of their very young and sort of quirky younger sister. Their parents passed away, so she's trying to make ends meet, trying to make it work with being a guardian of her young sister. And then an alien shows up that is a convicted felon, I guess, by some alien race. And so they exile him to Earth, and they realize that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem when it comes to Stitch. So they have to go and they have to try and find him. We know the story. We've seen it before, but in this version, they tell it different. I don't know why. There's nothing in this movie, before I let you go, Paul, there's nothing in this movie that adds up to get to that ending. Like the original ending where everything sort of works out, they build the house together and they do their thing, and Stitch stays with them and the family stays together because family is important. And especially in this Samoan island nation in Hawaii that like family and the tribe and things like that. Like, I've been watching videos on this and such, and that is such an important element. And it was also a testament to the foster care system that is in Hawaii and how it doesn't work with the state. So I don't mean to laugh, but with all that being said, the sister needed to leave Hawaii because she wanted to achieve her dream of becoming a marine biologist on the mainland, not the coastal. The mainland is where she's going to learn how to become a marine biologist, not in Hawaii where she is currently. There's no marine biology schools in Hawaii. That's sarcasm, because they have some of the best. Because why wouldn't they? They're an island state. Whatever. I can't get into that. But so she straight up is like, yeah, all right, I can't leave. I gotta be a good big sister. And then the little sister's like, you can leave, and she leaves. So Ohana apparently meets the distance. Ohana is this is everybody's locked down and cannot see each other. We're all going to marine biology school in Kentucky. This movie looked good. Like, it was like the special effects were good. It's Disney. It wasn't anything mind blowing, but I have to tell you, this whole message is so lost and is so disturbing. I had to give this a 1.5 out of 5 for my ratings for this. It just missed on all marks for me. I feel like somebody made this movie and was just like, you know what? I'm going to be different. And it wasn't good. So somebody needs to be fired for whoever created this thing. An elegant word for it, like I could, but this thing that they made, this live action thing that none of them seemed to be working. Paul, I went on for a bit. I would love to hear what you think. Were you a fan of the original? First of all?
Yeah, I grew up with the first one. I remember seeing it in theater, so like I did kind of love it. I'm still not like a Disney guy, so I'm not like, oh my god, Disney everything. But I did enjoy the first Lilo and Stitch a lot. This was Joker 2 to Lilo and Stitch 1.
Good.
It was just so bad, and I kept trying to look for something good, and I just felt disappointed because even the children in the theater when we saw it just sounded disappointed. Like bored, like, oh mom, can we go play in the arcade, or I'm hungry, or blah blah blah. And like the kids didn't even care, and I feel bad if a kid's first time being introduced to this is this, because it just makes it look, like you said, it's not holding the original traditions of the first one. It just makes it kind of seem dumb and silly. And I get kids movies can be that way, but the original had at least some heart. So like, I want some heart, I just didn't like it. I agree with you. This was kind of the bane of my existence. I've been waiting eagerly to hear from friends that are adult, over the top Disney fans that have remained silent. So I know they agree with me. So I'm ready to talk trash to them since they think Disney does no wrong. But Disney, let me tell you, stop doing live actions of good movies. Choose the bad ones. Choose movies that didn't go amazing and try them again. Do Camp Nowhere again with Christopher Lloyd back. Do something fun.
If you're going to change a movie, how about Songs of the South? If you're going to like try and update it for today's world, how about if you're going to remake something, redeem that?
That's fair.
Like where are we? Like, I completely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
These live actions, I can see wanting to do some. Like the Beauty and the Beast one was good. It just doesn't, like, the animation was so good. I didn't feel like it was warranted. A lot of people didn't like that they made the Little Mermaid a young black girl, but I didn't care who it was. It just wasn't a good movie comparatively to the original. And I think a lot of it was they're so endearing to our childhoods, right? But there are a lot of problematic things that happen in those movies because they were products of their time. It doesn't bother me. I don't think that we should be judging products of their time on today's standards, especially in art. It was different worlds trying to tell different stories. So I get it. This didn't like when I watch like any other type of live action movie they do where I'm like, okay, they're trying to, like Dumbo, I think they're trying to go more of an animal cruelty thing, which it just didn't really land for me. A lot of the messages they're trying to push in this doesn't land for me. But in that original Lilo and Stitch, I got the idea of like family doesn't have to be blood. Family is who you make it. Ohana's means that no one gets left behind, so we're all together. It seems very much like more of a friend movie.
Mm-hmm.
That Friendsgiving feel of like, all right, we're all together and like we are the family that we put together. This movie straight up was like, oh yeah, you have family and friends, beat it, go do your thing. Leave. Like, it's just like it took that message out of it. So like it wasn't even like a correction to something.
Yeah.
It was just exploitative and stupid, and I wish they didn't do it.
Whoever redid this one probably got broken up with at the first movie and was like, I don't even want anything to do with this. He's like, F this, I'm not doing this.
Somebody somewhere is having like a real mental health issue with traumas from past family events unfolding, and they were like, here, you write this, and he was like, yeah, all right, he's leaving. They're like, have you
I hate you, Teresa, and he's just mashing it down.
So Lilo and Stitch 2025 was my lowest rated of the week. That and I wasn't even excited to see it because like the original wasn't one that stuck out to me. So like you had a low bar to set. I like the original. It's just like if you had kept the original, kept this the same ending, I probably would have been like, yeah, it wasn't needed, but you know, it was fine. I liked it. And that's as far as you would get. You would get a higher rating than you got with the ending. but you really screwed the pooch on it. And you went to they really went to the work to make all the characters look like they did in the from their cartoon version.
Yeah,
but they went hard on changing that ending.
Visually it did look great. Like honestly, like the animation side of it, Disney, you were great, but story and almost everything else sucked. But animation,
I liked the interactions between the little girl and Stitch. They were funny. Like there was a couple like when he just sprays her in the face. Like I started laughing. I was like, that was pretty good. And like I know it's from the original, but they did a good job recreating that bond. So, but that was it. That was it. That was like as far as I'm gonna go. Besides, like it looked pretty and that. But that's our ratings and reviews of Lilo and Stitch. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Ooh, before we get into this, did someone answer that question that you posted up about him?
Oh. No, I don't think anybody did. But even if they didn't, you can answer it.
Is it License to Kill? It's License to Kill, right?
License to Kill. That was one of his first movies. He was very young. Benicio del Toro.
Love Benicio. I love him.
A lot of people will get it mixed up because Harvey R. Bardem was in Skyfall, and they kind of look alike a little bit. And like, so if I say it, like sometimes people are like, "Is it in Skyfall?" I was like, "Nope, that was his twin." This man was in License to Kill, baby. The Phoenician Scheme, the new film by Wes Anderson, starring Benicio del Toro and a slew of others. The regular stock company is here. We get Willem Dafoe, Bill Murray as God at one point. Just everybody's in this. Michael Cera is one of the stars of this movie. Like a lot of people show up from the Wes Anderson stock company, and it is. I got to tell you, like this was just one that it's got 2.5 out of 5 for me. It wasn't great. Like, I have a big problem with Wes Craven as of late. But before we get into that, just to tell you guys a little bit about the Phoenician Scheme. The Phoenician Scheme, Benicio del Toro plays Corda, who is like an arms dealer and an industrialist, and he goes about and he makes deals with all these different countries, supplying them arms and stuff like that. And then for the most part, you find screwing them over. He's not a very good person. And now he realizes that there's going to be a big gap in his debts, and he's going to lose his entire fortune. So he takes his daughter in tow to go to all of his investors to see if they will fill the gap for him. And while he's doing that, somebody is hunting him, and they keep trying to kill him. So it's an interesting tale. I like Wes Anderson movies. I like his directing style. I really enjoy his art direction. The entire production design of the whole thing is brilliant and amazing, just like he always is. There's a fun story to it. I wish it gets a little convoluted at times, too much, like Wes Anderson does as of late. And I think that's like a big part of that is because there's so many characters that in his stock company, like he's not even using everybody that he normally uses, but it's still like a stacked cast, and he believes in a plethora of characters in the scene at any given time. People you'll never even see their face most times, and like he loves that style of it with his sets, and I appreciate that from him. My biggest issue with the Phoenician Scheme and like Asteroid City and other Wes Andersons as of the last 10 maybe 15 years, this man can direct the hell out of a movie, he can write a movie, and they're always going to be interesting, but he's lost the soul of it. There's no humanity in any of these movies. They are very much, each story is rooted in humanity. It's rooted in change and starting as one thing and becoming something different. And it works. And with any type of emotion or humanity to this movie would probably win Oscars. The last time I saw a movie that Wes Anderson made where I saw a lot of heart, a lot of humanity in it, was The Grand Budapest Hotel, and that was Ralph Fiennes bringing it to the role. That's not to say that any of his movies aren't good. I do like his movies. My problem with the Wes Anderson scope of things in these movies now is that, like, you go back and you watch a Rushmore, or in my opinion, one of his best, Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
You know, you have quirkiness. There's quirkiness everywhere, and that's highlighted and beautiful, and he does it perfectly. But you can't tell me there's a character in this movie that is as charismatic, as human as Gene Hackman's Royal Tenenbaum was. You can't tell me that Steve Zissou, this charming character throughout that brings a lot of care, and again, I'm going to use the word humanity because I feel like it's so important, into this role. Darjeeling Limited, like everyone, there's so much connection and moving through. Everything feels cold. Watch these movies, and listen, he made Poison last year, which is one of my favorites. He made a whole bunch of wonderful adaptations of Roald Dahl stories, and Poison was just one of his short stories that I really appreciated and I really love. But you have these great actors. Bring your humanity back to your movies. That's why this got a 2.5 for me. It just doesn't have that thing that it used to have with these movies, where you watch them and you're like, that feels so good. All these quirky characters are still. There's a linchpin character in there that represents the audience member. I don't see that in his movies, and that takes me out of it. Did you get a chance to watch the Phoenician Scheme? What'd you think?
I actually did, and my rating is about the same. I think a lot of it has to do with Benicio, just because like I said, I have a very soft spot for him. I've always loved him. I love his accent. I love his acting style. He's a joy. Like you said, Wes Craven, I do enjoy his movies because I will never say he's not talented. He's very talented. But like you said, it's hard to make that connect. And for me, whenever I see these, this is like me going to an art museum. I can absolutely enjoy it. I respect it. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, everyone should go to the museum with or go see art with me. Like I know what I'm in for with him. For whatever reason, his lighting and his camera angles, it just reminds me of The Dentist's Office. His last couple movies, and it's not a bad thing. It just kind of reminisces me into there, and his movies are kind of flat like that. Like I've never had a dentist be super personable, or I'm like, that dentist was awesome. I can't wait till my next checkup. Absolutely not. It's very floss, this and that. We're done, and that's kind of how his movies feel. Like here it is. Here's the set. Here are the characters. All right, we're done. And it's just like, okay, well, thanks. And rewatchability, always goes into my rating factors. I will probably never watch this again unless someone's begging to see it and I have it. And then it's like, well, I'll watch it again with you. But I don't think you can ever willingly just catch me just being like, hey, let's go ahead and watch this again.
Yeah, this is definitely not one that's going down. And again, you're right, because this is a great cast. Benicio del Toro is great in everything. I love him. So I'm right there with you. And for me to watch this, and he's such a charming individual, playing an extremely charming individual, but very toned down. And I was like, let him be the free one. Let him take this and run with it. Let everyone else be that quirky style. Because if you go back and again watch the Royal Tenenbaums, or you watch the Life Aquatic and stuff like that, you have that one who's just not afraid to break past the quirkiness and like shove it back in everybody's face. And that's your linchpin character for the audience. Your linchpin character is like, I want to be in it with all of these quirky characters, but I'm not quirky, not like them. So how do I handle watching this? And that's why when all those characters in his previous films, again, going back to Grand Budapest and with Ralph Fiennes, everyone in the movie is extremely quirky and like handling it almost verbatim of what the script says. And then it feels like, but your main character is going off book a little and he's trying to figure out what's happening. And I loved that aspect of what Wes Anderson brings to his different characters in his stories, but this one just felt too cardboard. It felt like it was just going for laughs at times, and the story again was just too convoluted. It was really I get what it was trying to do, and I definitely understood not to make it a political thing, but like the billionaire style of it, of like the rich industrialists and stuff like that, atoning for who they are and like realizing that there's more to that. But that would have made more. You should have even more so, because I know who you're trying to commentary on, made him so charismatic that you can't, like, every time he talks, you're like, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. Like he was good, but you're playing that quick, like, and he's matching everybody else. And it's like, he needs to be above it. He needs to be like way above, and you have an actor who can do it. Like,
Yeah.
nothing against Benicio. Like he can. You let him free, and it's going to be amazing. That's 2.5 for me. I see we're about the same. So
Yes,
the
sir.
Phoenician Scheme. If you like Wes Anderson, I say check it out. If you're not a Wes Anderson fan, maybe check it out, and you have nothing to compare it to. But I would say go back and watch like his first like 6 or 7 because they're brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. But thanks for watching that one. Now let's go to the next one. We haven't gotten to the show yet.
I like that we're doing the reviews first.
I do too. I like going through these. Gives us free time to talk. But you know what I'm never going to be again? As young as I was when I watched The Fountain of Youth. Ooh.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. This is going to be fun.
So The Fountain of Youth is a new adventure film, treasure hunt adventure film, much in the wake or vein of Indiana Jones or the National Treasure movies, things like that. Big spectacle type adventure movies that we know and we love. Alan Quartermain back out there. This one stars John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, his brother and sister duo, who were big time adventurers and historians and such, treasure hunters with their father. And now that he's passed away, they've been a bit estranged. Isa Gonzalez plays a shadowy type of figure who has to come in and try and thwart Krasinski at every turn as he's going through. And then Domhnall Gleeson plays the man funding the whole thing to try and save his own life with the Fountain of Youth. This was a movie. So I gave this a 2 out of 5. And the reason I did that is because Fountain of Youth for me it has a lot of spectacle, has a lot of adventure, has a lot of personality. It has a lot of the right fits for a good National Treasure or Indiana Jones type of adventure movie. And I think that's a great thing. But what really lost me was it took it too fantastic. It borderlined Crystal Skulled this. And that's where I was like, kind of like, I wish it was just a bit more grounded. I wish that granted they're finding the Fountain of Youth, but we always know that these fantastical elements that these people are finding in these movies can never truly be shown to the world. Something has to happen where it goes hidden forever. They're the only ones that ever found it. It is what it is. This movie ripped off a lot from like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and mostly in terms of, it's visual effects, things like that. Not as good though. Not as good. And it also took a lot from National Treasure and what it was trying to tell. And again, it's a globe-trotting, interesting bit, but the algorithm writing these bugs me because it adds every element. You got the brother and you got the sister. Then you have the love interest in there who's throwing kinks in it. Then you have like this billionaire who you like, but clearly is a red herring for the bad guy. And I could say spoiler alert, but is he? Go watch it. You'll see. But there's a few other elements in there. There's a little kid in there, the whole 9 yards. The villain in this was just really non-existent at some point. Like the villain in this was just kind of purposeless. And that kind of bugged me a little bit because it was like I felt like you could have really built on a good villain. All right. We don't have to do the same as Indy. We don't have to do the same as National Treasure. It could just be other people looking for the Fountain of Youth, but they're bad, Mm-hmm. Honestly, with this cast, I probably would have set this in like the 20s. I thought that would have been interesting. Something like a Mummy type of feel. If you're going to go with the supernatural route. But since it was set in modern day and the Fountain of Youth for some reason I can't even remember where it was. It's not in America. I think it was like in London or something. It was so weird. So like you don't even remember all of the elements that go into it because it really does take you on this whole thing that like I and I made sure to watch National Treasure after this because I was like, that's a good one. That's a really solid adventure story. So I wanted to see the beats.
Right.
The beats do not match up. There's too many beats in Fountain of Youth. So it really just got a 2 out of 5 for me. I wish it was better. It has the elements. If it does well, maybe you'll get another one and they'll actually get somebody who writes a good one. But also Krasinski was really quirky and like too quirky at times. Like I wish he was a little more debonair than quirky.
Mm-hmm.
The Jim from Dunder Mifflin role just needs to go away. Every time I see him on screen, it's sort of some variation of Jim, like he's the all-American boy. And it's like, calm down, all right? Reed Richards was an alcoholic. Play it like that, something like that. But like, yeah, Fountain of Youth for me was sort of a whiff. I love adventure stories too, so I was really hopeful. But Paul, what did you think of it?
I really wanted to like it. Problem is, it's kind of like exactly what you just said. Those two comparisons, you could see everything they pulled from those movies. And I get there's only so much you can do with adventure movies, but try to come up with something new. Don't make it look like you just literally just watched those two movies back to back, took little spark notes from it, and we're like, all right, we're just going to throw it together in this movie. So it got annoying. So probably about halfway through, even Sam and I were sitting there like, well, we're committed now, but it's just like now we want to watch the good ones, like you said, just because this was just a recycled version of those that was watered down, just wasn't that enjoyable. There was a lot of unrealistic things, and I get you guys were searching for the Fountain of Youth. So I get it's unrealistic, but when you're shooting 50 cals at someone like 20 yards away and it's barely like divoting a car, I'm like, what? Like
the air's going to take you. The air will take an arm off. Like yeah. There's a lot of unrealistics. Like sometimes going bigger doesn't work, and like we need the biggest gun to be the most threatening. It's like, do you? Guns are threatening. I'm not afraid of the gun. I'm afraid of the bullets that are coming out of it. Like that's
right.
So it's kind of like, whatever they're going to hold on to. Now I get it. Like if you're not going to make it a laser gun or something that doesn't exist, why do we have to go with a 50 cal? You're right, because they're just 20, 30, 40, whatever it is. I don't care what number. You just needed like an AK and you're good. It's still just threatening. Just every element, to kind of compare it to the Final Reckoning, which just came out, which I for my review for that was more so that it felt like it was too many stunts. It didn't rely enough on exposition to help kind of guide. Same with this movie. I felt like they just relied too much on stunts, stunt worthy stuff and things like that. And it's like, I want the heart. Like the Mummy, the best parts of the Mummy aren't just the amazing CGI for 1999. It's the connection between the characters.
Yes.
I love Indiana Jones, same way. National Treasure, same way. Like, you love the connection between the characters. I was just commenting on National Treasure, by the way, as a comparison about how good Sean Bean is as a villain in that movie. There's at one point a kid bumps into him, and he just like smiles and like he's just like, hey, it's all right, kid, don't worry about it. And he's the villain of the movie, and he's chilling in it. You watch it and you're like, oh man, he's kind of but then he smiles at the kid and he's like, this is a charming dude. This is a great villain. Mm-hmm. This is a villain with layers, and you don't get that anymore. Now I feel like either every villain has to have a story so that way we have sympathy for him, or they're faceless and stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, a good villain will help your movie go a long way. And this one didn't have it. So 2 it is. Not to mention it was like an ending that I called from like a mile away. Yeah. The minute the guy came on screen, I'm like, yep, I know who he is. I know how this is going to work. I know
that first dream sequence. I was like, okay, I know the choice now. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Let me get my phone for a minute.
Fountain of Youth was just one that I did not love. I'd love to hear what you guys think, though. Thanks for watching our review. Let us know. Oh, the documentary on this one. Pee-wee as himself. And I can see Paul's face. You guys can't see it, but like I thought this was a really well done documentary. Very heartfelt. There's a lot to it. I feel a lot worse about jokes I made back in the day because I'm like, oh, that man did not deserve this, But again, product of our times. But this is a documentary that Paul Rubens, who played Pee Wee Herman famously for years, went out to make about himself. He didn't tell anybody he was dying while he was doing it, and he died in the middle of me. So they finished it, they put it together, they interviewed a lot of people who really cared about Paul, and I'm an absurdist, so Pee Wee Herman is right up my alley. That man throughout the entire documentary had me cracking up. He was trolling the whole time. It was the perfect display of absurdity for 3 hours. It's a 2-part documentary. For 3 hours, I watched this man like completely tell his story, but at the same time have the fun he wanted to have before he died. And I really enjoyed that. And the story is such a beautiful one, and it's heartbreaking at times, especially, with his scandals and stuff like that. But like what he set out to do with Pee-wee's Playhouse and stuff like that, as a longtime watcher and fan of Pee Wee Herman, hearing these stories and like what he went into, and the fact that he went from like sort of an adult themed Pee Wee Herman one-man show, well, not one-man show, but like there was a lot of people involved, but this whole show to being offered a kids show which is completely different from his material. And he was like, I'm going to take this serious. I'm going to do this for the kids and we're going to do it right. And he went all in on that. I absolutely, I love this documentary. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. But Paul, what about you? What'd you think about it?
Oh my God. It broke my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Those moments, knowing what had happened, unfortunately, rest in peace, Paul. It just breaks your heart kind of the whole time, especially like you said, those hardships, because he cared. Yeah. He cared about the message. He loved doing it. It was just so fun just seeing how much he put into it. You love seeing someone in their element. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, I watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure almost once a month, like literally marginal, because I aspire to be like him. Because I wish I could be at like a 9 or a 10 and be absurd and not inappropriate or annoying. And however he managed to do it in all of his movies and his show, he could be right there where you're like, if you're just a little bit more, I'd be like, I'm turning this off. But you're right there where you're just entertaining. And I absolutely love this. This just made me want to watch all of the Pee-wee show again. Kudos to him as an actor and just as a person, because he went through so much and still remained himself. Yep. We all make mistakes. We all do, we all got stuff in our closets. And good on him for doing this, because I think it showed that he really wanted to get his message out and so people could really see what was going on. And I mean, to even be joking and trolling people as he's dying, I just don't think I'd have the mentality to be able to be that upbeat or fun, knowing this is it. So it's a great documentary.
I don't think he had the capability of being anything else but entertaining. I think that's just who he was. But just watching him for like that 3 hours or so, and learning so much about him. Like, I knew he was gay, but I did not know that whole story with like losing the love of his life because he realized he has to return back into the closet by Hollywood standards. Yeah. And then like losing him to AIDS, in the 80s and such, the AIDS pandemic, like, it's so heartbreaking. But to see how resilient he was through all of these things, and to keep going and keep doing it and do another movie. Like, most people after the news thing where the indecent exposure, which, come on, like, they stuck that on him. And if you watch this documentary, they tell you straight out, like, it's not that he wasn't there, it's that's how he consumed his homosexual materials and such, and things like that. But when they hit him with the child pornography claim, and it's like, and you find out it was just like old magazines, and it wasn't kids at all, like it was old men's magazines, health magazines, because he was a collector. And before anybody like doesn't watch it and judges, he was a collector. This dude had things on top of things that he shouldn't, like, not that he shouldn't have had, but like why? You just have that to have it, like, that's right. Like, it's crazy. But like, he really was. He loved odd, weird things, and I get that, because that's what I collect. I don't collect those magazines, but right, at the same time, it would still be okay because there was no exploitation of children, and that poor man got lambasted. And Paul Rubens, one more thing for your absurdity level. You are an absurdity god among the scene snobs, and I'm gonna give you that moniker now, the absurdity god, because the fact. Dude, everything he did in this whole thing, but the fact that his first acting role after the indecent exposure arrest was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he had in his contract that he had to look as much like his mugshot as possible. My friends, you are the absurdity god, and I appreciate it.
We respect you.
With the scenes. So, thank you.
We need to put him on a shirt.
I would. I like just every year. I wouldn't use his likeness. Like, he deserves all that credit. If I did it, I would do it for charity. Like, whoever bought that shirt, like, maybe go to a charity that he, go watch this documentary. It's worth getting to know Paul Rubens.
Watch his movies if you've never seen his movies either, because they are.
Oh yeah, I like them all too. Like, they said, Big Top Pee-wee flop, and listen, I could see that it did, because. It was, I remember when that came out, but I loved it. I was like, Chris Christopherson, everybody's in this. I was like, I'm down. So I thought that was pretty cool, but go watch that too. Go watch all 3 of his movies, the whole night. And go watch Back to the Beach. He's in that as well.
That's about Large Marge too. Tell him Large Marge sent you.
I remember the Alamo. All right. Thanks for watching that review. Let's get to our final review tonight. Then we can start this podcast at 40 minutes in. Fear Street Prom. That's right. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5. This was the new Fear Street movie. It's based on the Prom Queen Massacre book. I guess they have one. I don't know if it is actually Massacre, it might be, or Prom Queen Murders or something like that. And this was, of course, one of R.L. Stein's creations was Fear Street. And this movie tells a tale of, I think it's like 6 girls in high school. I'm calling them girls because they're young. They're in high school. So like 6 girls in high school, and they're all up for prom queen. And it sort of follows their bickering, their fighting, who they are, all their personalities. If you have the poor girl who just wants to win it because her life sucks, then you have the rich girl who feels like she deserves to win it because she's the mean girl, and then you have everybody in between. And then, but somebody is like, a slasher is going through and taking them all out. And it becomes this pretty formulaic slasher film after a while. I definitely get why this is a young adult novel or movie. This is definitely not meant for the horror fans of the 80s or the 90s. It's a good send up to it because it takes place in the 80s and stuff like that. So I think guys like us who love our horror will appreciate it. I did appreciate it. It's got this middle of the road for me. For a Fear Street movie, I don't even think the trilogy that came out, which this is loosely connected to, would get this rating. But I didn't hate this movie. I might even watch it again as sort of a horror movie rewatch if it's on TV sort of thing. It's a Netflix, so it's probably not. But I've watched Scream and Scream 2 and all those. So like this isn't really that different. It just wasn't as good as a lot of the other ones coming, right? And it's just this high school slasher film. I did not love it. I did not hate it. Again, middle of the road. One of those ones. May watch it again, but overall it just didn't really offer anything new or outstanding that, like, I feel like a horror movie at this point, like if you're going to be a formulaic slasher 80s prom movie, watch Prom Night at least. I realize it's based on a book, but like get the feel, get the vibe, get the tone of what we're going for here. This one was a little too flash in the pan, a little too updated version telling an 80s story that just did. Paul, what did you think?
Well, this made me rewatch the other ones. This was kind of just right down the middle for me. It was kind of too predictable because I never try to like think of, who's who, trying to figure it out before the end of the movie. But as we were watching it, like I called it probably not even a fourth of the way in. I was like, oh, it's so-and-so was the original killer. And so it's probably still these people. Then I just watched it unfold. It was okay. This is one that, I might use to introduce like my nephew more into with something like that. But like, if I was hanging out with like you and some other like movie fans or horror fans, I would never be like, we got to watch Prom Queen to get in the movie. No, because we'd all be like, okay, I'd rather make you watch Hoobie Halloween than this. But if you're new to horror, you're trying to explore a little bit, or you got a significant other that isn't into horror, this might be safe middle ground. Because I've had coworkers that have watched this that don't enjoy horror, and now they're watching all the other ones and they're like, maybe I do kind of like horror. Like, so I think if anything, I think this might be a good introduction for somebody new to the genre. But I think for anyone well versed or actually grew up with the Freddy's, Friday 13th, or the originals, I think this is going to be like an But I wouldn't say it's the worst, but I think your rating's fair. I think it's right down the middle. And it's probably the best one out of all of them so far since I've been rewatching.
I know where you should watch this. So when I was in the 7th or 8th grade, I can't remember which one, I went to a boy-girl party. And in that boy-girl party, we're doing all the stuff boy-girl parties do. It's nothing tantalizing or crazy. But a horror movie was on. And that was the first time. I was a loser. So like I was watching the movie. So that was the first time I ever watched Candyman.
Hell yeah.
7th and 8th grade, watching the first time I ever watched Candyman, I was terrified. I was like, I got into the horror movie. I watch horror movies to scare me. Like, I want to be scared. So when I'm not, whatever,
Right.
But I realized, because they wanted us to like go in the bathroom or whatever at some point for 7 Minutes in Heaven. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I just watched this movie. This is not. I don't think I'm going to be in heaven if I go in there. And say what you will. I don't care. But watching that, I realized that was too scary of a movie for a boy-girl party in the 7th or 8th grade. Now, this movie would have been perfect for a boy-girl party in the 7th and 8th grade. So that's when you need to watch these movies, is when you're chilling with your friends and you're that young and just kind of enjoying it. You're looking for a horror movie because it does have its moments, but overall, that's a Mick guarantee. You can watch this at a boy-girl party in the 7th and 8th grade, not Candyman.
Yes.
But that's our rating, our reviews and our ratings for each of those movies. So whether you're watching it in a clip, or you're watching this, or you're listening to the podcast or watching it, thank you. But we're going to get started. It's time, my friend. We went to Carolina Fear Fest 2025 last weekend.
We did.
Let's talk about it a little bit. So, for anybody out there who doesn't know what Carolina Fear Fest is a wonderful horror-based, when I say horror, it's not just horror movie. They dabble in everything when it comes to horror. Horror-based convention in Raleigh, North Carolina, that is every Memorial Day weekend. You should get your butts down there. Stacked celebrity guests. Stacked with vendors, stacked with events, just tons of stuff to do. But like, Paul, tell us about some of your highlights of Carolina Fair.
I feel like this year, just because it was kind of different this year, because a lot of our regular friends and people just weren't all there this year, for all different various reasons. So it was kind of, in a fun way, it was fun just making new relationships and new friends.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was just clicking with a lot of new people and people that had been there previous years that I'd spoken to, but not had a chance to really sit with. So, meeting a lot of these people was just a lot of fun. Just meeting the great people, and the panels were a lot of fun as usual. The vendors, it was nice seeing some new vendors out there. I like seeing the book writers. I honestly enjoy talking to them because I'm not the biggest reader. Sam is. So a lot of times I like talking to them because if it's a book that I think she likes, I'll try to sneak one away. And so it's a lot of fun. It was great seeing Paul again. Paul with Hunters Against Hate. I love seeing him every year. He's an absolute delight. He's hilarious. No spank bank this year, but that's okay. You got to come and figure out what that's about.
I don't need to be spanked again. Been there.
I wanted to. He just said he couldn't use that paddle on me. And I was like, well, use your hand. And he's like, don't tempt me.
Dude, I don't know if I'm okay with being spanked anymore. Too old for it.
Oh.
People got to leave my spanking butt alone. So, a lot of fun. What was your favorite panel?
Well, if I'm allowed to geek out and kind of talk about us, then I'm going to say that Bill Moseley. It was very humbling, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, I took a minute that night after we interviewed Bill Moseley, Devil's Rejects and Houses, Thousand Corpses, and his other films. I remember sitting with my core group of 6 friends from middle school, in high school, and just watching that movie. And I'm just thinking back, and I'm like, if any of them had been like, you're going to be sitting 4 feet from him, able to talk to him and just be a part of a panel. Okay. I never would have believed it. So it was just surreal. Just being in that moment, and then him just being able to switch into that voice so quick and be Otis again threw me off. And I fanboyed out internally. Externally, I think I held it together a little bit, but that was probably the coolest panel for me. So it was just such a big moment because I've watched him over half my life. And now you're right here and you're nice.
Sometimes I got to think about that because I get a little curmudgeon-y when it comes to panel. I think I do too many. And it's not listen, I think I had some great panels this weekend and I had a really bad panel. Oh God, there's so many. So we worked on it. So yeah, Paul and I did the Bill Moseley. Now Paul was there throughout the entire. Paul helped me immeasurably, even if he wasn't on the stage at the time. But if Paul wasn't there, it wasn't going to work. So I want to point that out. I want to give credit where credit's due. So I had a lot of fun. I tend to run when it comes to the panels. And I think I had the most this year than I've ever had. Friday night, we had Real Combat, which nobody came.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yes. And I had such a great time talking with everybody. So I'm fine with how it turned out. But a lot of people came up afterwards and were like, oh, I really want to check out Real Combat. But it was Malcolm McDowell was on the main stage. So I was like, I get it. So when that was over, I went over and we did the Stump the Scene Snobs. Everybody won. Didn't have to take anything home. Felt really good about that. And yeah, everybody seemed to really enjoy that. But then we had so many. We did the humor and horror. We did the 70s and 80s, talking 70s and 80s horror. William Catt was there, Eileen Dietz, Nancy Loomis. The humor and horror was the Labine brothers, Tyler and Kyle Labine, Daniel Roebuck, John Abrahams was there. Cracking us up, sharing stories from Scary Movie and the Wayans brothers and just how they handled that. There's so many really fun, interesting things. Bill Moseley was just fantastic. He was just so much fun to talk to, for sure. The whole thing was just a great time. All the celebrities were really sweet, really kind people. I really enjoyed everybody we met. This cosplay was great. We got to do the costume party. Oh my God. There were so many good costumes there. The basket case.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was nuts. That was
Oscar
wild.
Myers still is the one that won it in my heart.
Oscar
There was a man dressed up as Michael Myers, and on top of that had a wiener costume, and he was Michael Myers' cousin, Oscar Meyer. And I about pissed myself.
That pun would not have won for me, and it didn't. I pushed that man off the stage. No, when they came up and like they told me Oscar Mayer, I'm like, yeah, I don't.
Why not? You're about absurdity. That's so
at first,
absurd.
I don't get it. I was like, oh, Michael Myers, Oscar. But I almost corrected it.
Oh no!
I almost went to him and like, yeah, but Meyer has an A and there's no S at the end. I'm glad I didn't because it just ruins it. But like, it's the perfectionist moron in me. Like, I had to do it. But yeah, he told me that. I'm like, no, it's not the same. That's the immediate reaction. It's not the same. What's wrong with you? Don't do that. I did. I had a good time though. The Saturday night party was fun. They did a murder on prom night theme, right in line with Prom Queen, which they didn't even know. That was the funny part because I was talking about like, yeah, I got to watch this movie, Prom Queen, and they're like, wait, there's a horror movie coming out the same weekend we're doing this. I'm like, yep, good on you. So
I thought they knew that. That's funny.
They didn't have any idea, and I was like, yep, there you go. It's like, it's not the same. We did a murder mystery. It was a lot of fun. Everybody got really into it. Food was great, of course, guys. These parties are always a good time. And there was at one point, I'm so tired. We have been going. I'm exhausted from the day. My body hurts. And they are doing the murder mystery now. It's already like 10 o'clock. And they're like, all right, now we have to do the costume contest. And I'm like, what? I immediately grab the mic and I go, all right, I'm hosting a costume contest. I just learned about 5 minutes ago. I was like, who's here? Who's in costume? I was like, I didn't have it in me. I was like, let's do it. I'm going to put my hand over everybody.
There you go.
It's like the theme of the whole thing. I'm going to put my hand over, you clap, and whoever claps gets the loudest clap wins. I was like William Shatner from Miss Congeniality, but no personality at that night. But
hell yeah. Can I be a Sandra Bullock?
Yes. You have to get up on stage though in a dress.
That's fine.
You have to have congeniality.
I got the legs for it. I can walk in heels. Bet.
I feel like you and Benjamin Bratt would fall in love. I feel like that's a possibility.
Maybe. He's too tall for me. That's okay.
I successfully not bartered because that's a trade, but I successfully talked down the price with a vendor for the first time in a long time.
Heck yeah.
Because I usually go and I don't really have the time to, because you got to do it on Sundays. Let's be real.
Yeah.
If you're going to do anything, you wait till Sunday. And then it's just like, all right, we're closed and we're doing this. So like, to kind of, and a funny story, Godzilla story nonetheless. I'm collecting the cars now, right? I've been telling you, and it is going to come around to Bryant. So I saw an original A-Team van up on one of the things, and I was like, okay. I walked up, and I got excited for it. The guy could see it in my face. It was terrible. Terrible on my part for knowing sales and then getting excited. Never get wide-eyed when you're looking at it. Then they got it. So I picked it up and I go, hey, how much is this? And normally, like, he was like $20. I was like, $20 for that? Like, come on, it's not even in a box. There's nothing like. I was like, I can buy a brand new one that looks like the actual van for like $13.
Right.
I was like, there's no way this is worth 20 because I've seen it on Macari. It's not. So I was like, he got me. He knows I got excited when I saw it. So I was like, I let it go. I was like, all right, now I'll come back. And like I kept coming back throughout the weekend, and I'm like, "Hey, how much is this?" Like, "Oh, it's $20." He knows, he remembers. It's hard not to when you're 6'8", you have giant hair. So was it Sunday? I saw him and his son. They were there, and I walk up and I look at it, and then I see these little Godzilla figures too, right? These little Godzilla figures. I saw them, and I was like, "How much are these?" I was like, "Let me throw these out." He goes, "Oh, for all five, $20." I was like, "For all 5 of these things, they're like tiny little things." I was like, "Whatever." I was like, I get it. You gotta make your bones. So I was like, forget it. I was done. I wasn't gonna do it. I'm walking past. The guy's gone. The son's there. I was like, dude, you still got the A-Team man? He goes, yeah, it's right here. I was like, how much is it? He's like, $20. I was like, how much are these Godzillas? He's like, oh, they're 20. I was like, give them to you for 30. I'll take both for 30. Not much. He goes 35. I was like, nah, I can't do it. I'll talk to you later. And he's like, no. I'd rather the sale. It's Sunday. Blah blah blah. I was like,
heck yeah.
But it came with my second King Ghidorah figure, which means that naturally that means I'd have a first, and I did, and I got this one from our man Bryant. This is my King Ghidorah, and I wanted to also share that because I appreciate because he's making it a sort of a trend where he picks me up a Godzilla figure every year, and I have my other ones, and that I saved it. I kept it on my desk to show on camera. So if you're listening to the podcast,
Nerd.
and now I got to put it on next to the stuff he got me last year. I have a whole shelf of Godzilla stuff with the figure. Yeah, I thought that was it was fun. I got 2 King Ghidorahs in one weekend. I got to barter successfully again after a while, like, you know, little wheel and deal action. It wasn't much, but I got some. It feels good to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good time. But you know, we talk often about the celebrities that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And how we had a good time. They were all really nice. And every year it seems like. But I want to ask you, like, what do you like? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talk about celebrities all the damn time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Celebrities don't impress me. I don't give a shit. Like I don't. The only time I got excited about a celebrity this weekend, not that I wasn't appreciative, and not that I didn't, like, you know, enjoy meeting them and talking to them and learning from them. I love doing it. But when you talk to celebrities, and I'm going to extend this to influence, you're not getting stories. You're not getting conversation. You're getting anecdotes. That's all they're going to serve. They're going to serve oh, yeah, this happened. They ask the same questions a billion times. I try to bring new questions to it, but for the most part, you're not going to get anything. Nobody cares. That did not change this weekend. It didn't change for me this weekend. I was like, whatever. I was like, I don't care. I'd rather hear about, like, what was it like working on set, you know, when you had to do this? Like, what was your toughest point working on, you know, shit like that. Like, I want the real stories. And I feel like the only time I got really excited, I almost jumped on it, was the humor and horror. And it was almost done. We were almost done with it, the panel. And Tyler Labine goes, I don't know. I'm not really a big horror fan. I'm more of a cinephile guy. And part of me almost jumped on it and was like, let's talk movies. What do you got? Let's, like, who, you know, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I wanted to go all in on that. And I was like, no, I got to do this for the crowd and stuff. But honestly, like, that's why I don't even like doing interviews anymore. I gave up on interviews when I saw every goddamn podcaster that, whether they cover movies or not, they want to talk to celebrities about everything. And I just got tired of the same things being talked about over and over again. It's like, give me a human moment. Like, I want to talk to Tom Cruise. I want to have Tom Cruise on it. Do I care about Scientology? No. Do I care about I don't know, whatever crazy shit he's got going on? No. But that man is a cinephile. He understands more about filmmaking than I think any of us will ever possibly could. And he knows it from almost all aspects. And I got to give it to him. And he's a movie fan. You hear him in interviews talk about movies, talk about shots, stuff like that. That's what I want. But you never get it. You never get it in these interviews. Like, I started watching the Criterion channel. I signed up for the app. It's my new favorite.
Okay.
New favorite streaming app, hands down. Oh my God, I've watched like 17 movies on there in like a month of just shit I've seen, stuff I haven't seen. Like, I watched Dog Day Afternoon the other day. I watched Black Caesar the other day. I was watching all of Spike Lee talking about all these different movies and what they meant to him. And then they have the movies on there. Like, they have Little Murders on there. I never see Little Murders. And that's such a great, oh my God, that's one of the best nihilist comedies I've ever seen. You would love it. You're a nihilist, if anything. Yes. You would love that movie. Anybody needs to watch that one. Donald Sutherland plays the preacher that's marrying him and is just talking about banging his wife. It's so good. But yeah, the Criterion channel, it murders. So with that being said, I want to get your feelings on this. Like, when you are like watching celebrity interviews, stuff like that, is the interviews you're getting the same run of the mill stuff? Is that satisfying to you?
I'd say to some extent. So, like, how do I say this? So, like, we'll say the con we were just at, right? Because of networking, some friendships that have developed over the years, I got a chance to, like, have dinner and have a couple drinks with a majority of the celebrities out there. I mean, I learned more about them in 10 minutes of sharing a shot with one or two of them than I probably could watching any of their interviews. Because, like I said, they're loose. They're actually talking about what's going on, or, oh, so-and-so's like this, or, you know, some of them have a lot to unpack. So they're talking about their childhood and what it was like starting then, and then all these run-of-the-mill jobs and things like that, and talking about living out of here and there. And you're like, oh, my God. So, like, for me, I prefer that because, like you said, I'd rather hear the realness of it. Because I do enjoy, because I know they're human. Most people should know everyone's human. We're all human. But it does get annoying when celebrities. Yeah. And it's weird. It kind of blows your mind, especially when they're talking about even, like, their own movies. And then they're like, it was all right. And it's like, well, I'm glad you said it, because I kind of feel the same about X, Y, and Z movie. Like, I'm not saying you're bad, but I'm glad you're not like, no, all my movies are 9s all around. It's like, no, they acknowledge that movie sucked. They're like, you know,
And
I
there's
just need
some they
a
don't
car
even
payment.
remember being in, which I get. That's a job, you know.
Right.
Like I don't feel like everybody has to have an appreciation for it, but I feel like if I'm going in, like, because I'll interview a plumber because I'm going to find out some really interesting stuff because there's some interesting stuff that a plumber can do that I have no fathomable knowledge of whatsoever. So like I'm going to learn something whoever I talk. But that's why I like talking to people when they talk about the things they're passionate.
Yes.
Because then they're really into it. Sometimes actors always passionate. They may not be passionate about the filmmaking, but they're passionate about the acting that they bring to a movie or to the theater, whatever it is, you know, when they're working on. Celebrities, different story. You can get some really nice ones, but you cannot have a good conversation with a celebrity. You really can't. Now, unless it's one-to-one, really, like, and they know you,
Yeah,
it ain't gonna happen. It's funny because you'll get some odd-ass behavior from celebrities left and right. Like, you will legit get some odd-ass behavior from celebrities. And they'll put that all out there. But if, like, you're like, hey, you know, like, when you worked on this movie, why'd you make that acting? Whoa, that's personal. You just had your dick out, dude.
right.
Like, it's that type of like insanity that comes around with it, you know. So yeah, like when it comes to celebrities, like I don't care. Like I remember when we had Jonathan Frakes on the show. I was excited. Don't get me wrong. I was like, I'm talking to Riker. This is gonna be amazing. But the man's also a very acclaimed and accomplished director, and I wanted to know all about that. It's like I was like, we can touch down on Riker for a little bit, but I want to know about this. It's like you directed First Contact. What was that like? And thank God he was accommodating because there were some people I've had on the show where it's like, did you want to talk today? You know, or like, did you just want to promote your thing? Like, if you want to promote your thing, fine, but like, either come on and have a good conversation. So I don't know, like this weekend, like. I always get the standoffish from it, but then if you walk around, like, but then I turn around the corner and like I'm talking to these production companies that are pumping out movies and doing really good jobs, and they're friendly, they're vibing, they have celebrities there of their own, like, you know, like whatever degree it is.
Yeah.
You're just like having a good old blast of a time. Like, all right, man, they're into the movies. Like that's the difference between the professionals, like the actors. I put actors up there, but like directors, stuff like that count too. But versus when you get to the celebrities who just give you the same answers, and goddamn influencers have nothing else to add. They're the worst. So that was my rant.
That's fair
on that. So because of all that, I decided to do our top 5 countdown as character actors, male character actors. So I thought we would get to it. Top 5 countdown character actors. Like I said, the male variety. We'll get to women down the line. All right, buddy, you ready? You ready? To lock on this one. Number 5. What's your number 5 for the top 5 male character actors?
Steve Buscemi.
That's a good one. Yeah, and
his War Dogs and Fargo.
Yeah, because he was a character actor back then, like as Donnie from the Pickles and stuff like that. Like he would just pop up whenever you saw his face. He was always, oh my god, he played the killer in Billy Madison. Oh, it's just so many things. Mine was J.K. Simmons.
Okay,
J.K. Simmons is in everything. Like I feel like the 6 degrees of separation could be for J.K. Simmons. That man is in everything. You could probably connect J.K. Simmons to J.K. Simmons in less than one turn because that's the things he's in. So that's why he's number 5 on my list. I think it's well deserved. Number 4 on your list, sir.
Gary Oldman.
Solid. Star now, but definitely a character actor, changes with every role. It's interesting. That's a really good one. That's a great choice. Mine went with Danny Trejo.
Nice.
I mean, you see people popping up in movies trying to be like his characters. So it's interesting. Like, this man has definitely made a face for himself. Danny Trejo. 4. Number 3. Who's your number 3?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Ooh, good one. It's a good one. He was so good.
We miss you.
Oh,
fuck, I loved him. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I really do love Philip Seymour. Like, it makes me sad every time because I forget. And then I'm like, oh, man.
Yep. Why are we getting more great things out of this amazing actor? And it's
I would have loved him again in Mission Impossible. I loved him as Bill in Mission Impossible. Oh my god.
God, he was so good. And the fact that they tied back to that one so much. God, it would have been so good.
Now I gotta watch 3. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. Number 3 for me is Luis Guzman.
Okay.
This man shows up in everything. Everything. I love Luis Guzman because he always has that cool, calm, collective voice too. He plays the friend in Carlito's Way. I love that movie. All right, let's get to our number 2. Who's your number 2?
John Turturro.
Good one. Solid in everything in the 80s and 90s.
He's so fun.
Mine, I went with Kevin Bacon.
Nice.
Star of some movies, but tell me he's not that man shows up more as a character actor in movies than he does as the star of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a character actor in one of my favorite movies, which is A Few Good Men. Actually, he's probably a character actor in a lot of my favorite movies.
You pronounced Tremors wrong. It's okay.
Tremors is so good. With another great character actor in Fred Ward too.
Yeah.
And Michael Gross. But yeah, that's Kevin Bacon. But who is your number one?
It's gonna be Benicio del Toro.
Oh, you went with it. You went all in on that one, huh?
Yeah. God, I love him, man. The Sicario, just every time I watch Sicario is one of my favorite roles with him. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great movie.
I buy it. I believe everything about his role and his backstory and who he is. And man, he's phenomenal. I love him. And I love his accent, because his earlier movies, you hear how thick his accent is, and now it's kind of gotten a more English and you can understand better. His earlier movies, even when I watched with Sam, she's like, Usual Suspect, she's like, what is he saying? I'm like, I get it's a thick accent. She's like, I can't even hear English word. Anyway.
I agree. He's so good. And he would have been on my list, but I had to go with a legend for my number one. Man who has been in the movies since the 60s. Not his 60s, since the 60s. He has been around forever. We know him in so many amazing roles. That is James Hong. One of his most famous roles, in my opinion, is Big Trouble in Little China. He played Lo Pan, but he was also in Chinatown. Oh my God, I can go on days with everything James Hong is in. He is the quintessential character actor, in my opinion.
Okay.
That man is another one that you could 6 degrees and James Hong was in it. It's just, he was somewhere in that movie doing something. And he was so fantastic. So that's my top 5 list. It's Paul's top 5 list of our male character actors. That was exciting. So thank you for watching that. And then we're going to go to our mixed movie picks for the evening. This is 2 movies coming out because we're doing a franchise with this right now. And it's from 1976, 2011. They're both out on Classic Film Reviews right now. You can check them out. It's Marathon Man and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. If you haven't seen these movies, I definitely think you should. We are watching all of the Mission Impossible movies, getting ready for the Final Reckoning. And we're super stoked for that. And I'm having a good time rewatching everything. But Marathon Man finishes out our May month of thrillers, our Classic Film Review thrillers. And if you haven't seen this movie, I would say borders horror. It's fantastic. Dustin Hoffman's great in it. Laurence Olivier's great in it. It tells the tale of a man who's wrongly accused of being a spy and being chased down by an espionage organization of an evil variety. And it's just interesting. The whole thing takes place in New York City. It's well told. It's well done. And I think anybody who loves a good thriller. So have you seen this one, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
So good. And again, I do think that it borders horror, especially for the 70s and everything that we're getting. Go check these out. These are my mixed movie picks, and then keep coming back for every week. But you can check them out in Classic Film Reviews too. They are there. All right. Well, it's that time of night. It's Friday. We got shit to do. We're having a good old time. We're kind of recouping after Carolina Fear Fest. Next week, we're going to be doing some fun stuff, so make sure you join us back here for another episode of the Snobs podcast. Paul, before we go, you have anything you want to say?
Hey, guys, to all our new friends, if you happen to be watching, it was great meeting you guys, and for our fans, it was great seeing you guys. Radar, it was absolute pleasure seeing you healthy and happy at Fear Fest. It really made me happy to see you out there again this year, and thank you guys for putting on Fear Fest, because it's a great organization. It's a lot of fun. Keep watching, keep listening, keep loving the magic of movies, you guys, and keep letting us know any movies we haven't mentioned so we can start looking into new ones, or ones might have slipped through the cracks.
I'm all for it. I love that. I love having those, recommendations and stuff. So please do that. And if there's anything you want us, like Paul's saying, like we used to take requests, not that we ever stopped. People stopped requesting. If there's a movie that you like us to review, we'll specially do it. You just got to let us know. Let us know what you want us to watch and review it. It may not be on the podcast, but we'll definitely get it up on the channel. It depends on, when it comes in and when we get to watch it. But hell, if you want it on the podcast, sign up for the Patreon. No, I'm just kidding. You should follow for free. We got tons of fun stuff, and anything that you sign up for and tiers wise to help out goes back into the channel, pays for stuff. We appreciate you. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us, being part of it. We are the Snobs. This episode was brought to you by OCP, the corporation that loves you the most, and they will take good care of you. So just keep in mind, OCP is making our lives safer, better and looking out for a better tomorrow. So go check out OCP. They're also hiring. I hear they need police officers in the Detroit area. So go check out OCP.com and let us know what you think. All right, everybody. Until next time, remember to rate and review us if you're listening to the podcast. It really helps on iTunes. It really helps on Spotify, all those things. Please follow, rate, review, the whole nine. If you're over on YouTube, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We put a lot of love, a lot of effort, a lot of care. And we make a lot of things that go in there, not just shows like this, but we do all types of different shows like our classic film review, Does It Suck? The whole 9 yards. We'd love for you to go check that out. Thank you guys again. Remember, stay groovy, stay classy, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other. Until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan. This is Paul, and we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Later, Gator.